This is the do's and don'ts, the etiquette of a party and being a party entertainer in somebody else's home. First thing I do is I make sure that I contact the client probably about 2-3 days out, and I say, hello, just to let you know that I'm alive and kicking. Oh, how's Millie? Is she really excited? Oh, I'm so excited for her. It's going to be a great party. I'm always saying about how excited the party is going to be, that I'm really looking forward to the show. It's never dull. It's never like, hello, just to let you know, to confirm a few things. I am already entertainer super Steph at that time. So make sure that you're really fun, you're asking about the child, you know, because they're all really excited. It's a lot of money for a person. Even if they're rich, it's still a lot of money. And not only that, it's their child's special day. So you've got to address that at the same time. Then the next thing I do is I say to them, I'm going to meet you at this time, you know, at 10 o'clock for a 10:30 show, and set up then. I'll send you a message when I'm on my way. Then in the morning of the party, 9:30, when I'm driving to their house, I'll send a text message to them saying, on my way, super Steph, with a little happy emoji with a, you know, party hat on. And then I'll go to Google and I'll share, there's like, you scroll down and you can share your map. It says your ETA thing. Share your map, send it as a text message to them, and they can see you en route. Now the only reason why I don't do this sometimes is if I say ETA 4 o'clock and I'm actually going to get there earlier and have a cup of tea around the corner. Sometimes I've had it where they come around and they've seen me on the thing and they go, knock, 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 party's that way. And they go, oh yeah, I just wanted some, you know, time by myself. So I don't do it when I'm doing that. Now remember that your clients are not mind readers. So every single time that you have a problem, you have to decide, do I tell them about it? Because nobody, you know, everyone knows what happens with the messenger. Sometimes you get shot. Or can I deal with it? Or is this something that I have to bring this up to them? Now, I had a lady once, she was face painting 20 children in half an hour. And then all these other random children just started turning up, just out of the woodwork. Sometimes you'll see that. And she got frustrated. But instead of go to the client and say, hey, I've just noticed that there's all these other children that have turned up. I think they're siblings. It's going to be a problem because I've only got like a minute per child to face paint. So what I recommend is I just do a rainbow on all of their faces so that none of them miss out. The client would have done this. Oh yeah, that's lovely. Okay, do what you think's best. Instead, the performer got angrier and angrier, and that's our 1-star review saying Cinderella turned into a witch. Luckily, we've got so many reviews that one just got quashed, luckily, by stats, like calculations for Google. So yeah, so make sure that you relay what's going to happen. If the show's going to change because you've got 50 children instead of 20, you say, oh yes, I'm so excited that we've got all these children. It's going to be great fun. You always say, the sandwich, basically. So it's going to be great fun. Only problem is that we're going to have to change the show a bit just to make sure that we can accommodate everybody. Is that okay by you? So for example, when I do the balloon hat workshop, they all get these balloons and they always make this balloon hat. Sometimes I've turned up and there's too many kids, and I just say, we're going to just have a go at balloon twisting and doing a dog sword, and then not doing the balloon hat, because all of those balloon hats, the balloons, actually then need to be given out to the rest of the children. I'm sure you won't get a client who says, no, you told me that I could face paint everybody and such and such, but you've got too many children. Just refer back to the terms and conditions, say, yes, that's right, but on the terms and conditions it says that this was a max of 20 children and we've got about 40 here, so we're going to have to change our tactics. And you always say it really happily, even if they're grumpy. This, I'm sure, will never happen. It's never happened to me in 15 years. Everybody is just happy that you've just turned up to the show. Next etiquette is to be happy always. If you feel that you've smiled, smile again, smile again. You have to fake smile. What's your name? Oh, what's your name? That's it, because people looking across can just see this. And it gets really weird. So smile, smile, even if burning deep down you're angry because you've got 50 children that you're meant to be doing a show and they're all crazy. Just, no, it's okay, it's fine. You're out of there in 45 minutes, maximum 2 hours, who cares? Okay, toilets, going to the toilet in the place, absolutely fine. So sometimes when you're a character performer and you're rocking up to a show and you're wanting to do a big surprise, you need to go to the toilet at the last party. Nobody will care. You are a human being. Just so, do you mind if I use your loo just before I go to the next show? If you're desperate, just say to them, can you move out, can you move the children? I need to go to the toilet before the show. But I've never really had any problem with this. Maybe you need, got a weak bladder. I know I have, but I've never had a problem with it, especially with things like magic shows, because you just go in with all your stuff. I'll just pop to the loo if that's okay. Is it just right down the corner? Yes, that's fine. That child usually thinks that you're an actual fairy, so don't start changing out a costume with that. Saying that, I used to do a fairy magician show, and I used to put my wings on just before I started. And the reason why I used to say, if anyone asked, I said, I've got my real fairy wings in here. These are fake fairy wings. Otherwise I'd damage my real ones and they get very delicate. Now looking back, I would just buy shorter wings, because it's all about the look and making it look nice. It still would have looked fine with shorter wings. My wings were huge and very clumsy trying to set up a show. When you're doing a costume show, you just literally park somewhere where you can't be seen. I don't care, you just park on the street and just change with the door open on the passenger side. Makes it a lot easier. Food and drink. So feel free, of course, to have your water. You can't start going around at the end of the show picking and eating their food. A lot of people will say, well, do you want to have something to eat? Would you like some cake? And there you can just sort of gauge it and say, yeah, oh yes, that would be lovely. Now, I know performers, I had a performer who was really lovely and he'd stay for an extra hour. Like, sometimes people are being polite and say, would you like to stay for food? Just don't stay for an hour. Just stay for like 10 minutes, chat to the children, chat to the parents, and that's it, and go on your way, because you're there to do a show. And also when you're out of the show, you might say things like Donald Trump or Biden when you're going to offend somebody just because of your own beliefs, and you get into that adult conversation. So just keep it professional. There's one exception to this. The one exception is Indian parties. They will expect you to stay. You don't have to stay. I always use the excuse of, I'm so sorry, I've got to get back because my babysitter needs to leave at like 9 o'clock or something like that. But it's in their custom to make sure that everybody is fed. So don't feel bad about eating their food. Of course, you have to be invited, and they'll say, oh, come, oh, really? Are you sure? That's very kind of you. Be really over the top on those things as well. From the moment you phone up on the phone in the morning, then from the moment you get in the car and you open the car door and say hello to people, you are professional from then on. So you can't be like, all right, then where are we going to set up? Your voice, my mum calls it the telephone voice. You'll hear, sometimes I'm very slack on my, very London, and then sometimes I'll speak with every single, T and P that I can possibly imagine, because I'm trying to, with accents also comes status. So if you're very sort of, you've got that really broad Australian, and then you go to one of those sort of posh places, then you need to bring it up a bit, because people like similar people. And it's not saying that you're wrong in any way. I'm certainly not wrong from where I am, but what happens, now I've got my what happens, is that you'll be treated differently. So the more posh you are, then they'll look at you and think, oh, this person isn't doing this just because they can't get a job. This person actually loves this job and is doing this in a professional way. Does that make sense? Okay, shoes on or off. My sister, one who I tell you about, she's the photographer. She came over and she was going around with me and doing photos for some of the shows that I was doing, and then giving them the photos in exchange for us to use them on the website too. And she said, Steph, what are you doing with your shoes on? And it was an Indian family, I think, and everybody had their shoes off. I said, well, I've got my boots. I said, my superhero boots. I thought I've got my stupid stripy socks on. She's like, you've got to ask, Steph, because she's a no shoes in the house person. I'm a shoes in the house, even if they're muddy type person. I said, okay. And to my dismay, they said, oh, actually, would you mind taking your shoes off? I said, sure, I've got stripy socks on. They were, no, we just really don't like shoes. So that would have angered them in their brain to do that. Most of the time though, they look, I say, I've got these costume shoes on for the costume, but do you want me to take them off? And they usually look at them and go, no, you'll be fine, because costume shoes sounds different. Sometimes when you're doing the show and you go in, there'll be like furniture and coffee tables and things. I always recommend asking for the client, can I move the coffee table? Or helping them move it, because you're all in it together. You're all in it to make the best party. So don't think, oh, I'm just going to let them move the table, it's their table. If you can, you haven't got a bad back, help them move the table like a normal human being. If you have parents and they're sitting under a gazebo with chairs and they're chatting, and that gazebo is actually meant for you, just ask them politely, hello mums and dads, I'm so sorry, I've got to set up here. Do you mind ever so just to grab your chairs and just sit over that side? I'm so sorry, Just be really apologetic. Pretend you're super English and they'll love you for it. They're going to not like you if you say, hello, yeah, I'm setting up here. When I talk about sharing your map and sending them a text message, that sort of stuff, you have to be Amazon or Temu. You have to be the people, the messages that come in. Your message has landed in Australia. Your message is on the back of a courier. Your message is now being delivered in 45 minutes. Make them feel happy that something's happening every single time. I did something really bad once. I listened to a magician who said that he parked on the grass with his big four-wheel drive because when there's cars on the driveway, and he's meant to have the driveway to bring in all the equipment. He said, I'll just park on the grass. I thought, oh yeah, I'll just park on the grass then. You've got to stop listening to any magicians or any entertainers that think that they've got some sort of prima donna syndrome. You are not important. If you want to park in the driveway, you have to set that up beforehand. For example, tomorrow, the lady said, oh, there's plenty of parking around our way, and if there's not, there's parking down some other streets. And I thought, no way. I couldn't say, oh, that's fine, because that's not fine. I said, oh, that's lovely. I do lots of shows in West End, and what normally happens is the parents put me in the driveway and they park their car on the street so that the driveway is clear. Are you able to do that, please? Because I've got an awful lot of equipment and I want to set up for the show in case of the show delaying because I'm down the street. And then they can see the reasoning behind it rather than just, oh, I really need the driveway. So just explain some bits so they can understand why. And then, of course, it's logical, it's reasonable. Why shouldn't they? Anyway, that time when I parked on the grass, it was brand new grass. And I went on it, and then I tried to reverse backwards slightly, and it ripped all the turf up. Oh my goodness. The man came out, you could see he was so livid. I did an amazing show. And do you know how important that amazing show was? That show. I never heard back from them again. I messaged them and said, please let me pay for it, and they didn't contact me back. It doesn't matter about the show. It's not what you do, it's how you make them feel. I made that man feel angry, and therefore the show is irrelevant. I may as well pooed in his living room and it would have made no difference whatsoever. When you have a client at a party, they are highly stressed. I had a party recently for my children and they had a chocolate fountain, and the auger wasn't going around, it wasn't pinned in properly, we didn't know. I was on it for an hour, chocolate literally everywhere. So angry at this chocolate fountain. We had the face painter turn up. She was a new face painter, I hadn't met her before, and she's one of my girls now, but my husband was there as well. She picked up the phone. Hello, hi, yes, hi. Yes, who is it? The face painter. Lovely, what would you like? Just to let you sound confident. All you're going to do is annoy the parent that just wants to get on and fix the stupid fountain or fix the stupid, bunting that's coming down. They're very busy. Keep it short, sweet, and that's why I recommend calling days before when they're not stressed, not on the day.